the recording up. Okay, so welcome everybody to this Nishmat group. And I just want to say before we start, Nomi, thank you so much for taking us with you wherever you go. On a physical level, here we heard today you're going to the Kiva of the Gera Rebbe, but also how you've taken us on a spiritual journey with us and an emotional journey. And for this, we are most grateful. So thank you so much. Also, thank you to Adele, Blima, Chaya, and Rebbetzin Yagid. And I wish you a refuah shalema, Rebbetzin Yagid. Amen. And now, for also to say to everybody, Gemar Chasima Tova, we should all just be blessed with a good year, with the inscription of a good year. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Chaya Sarah Behar. On behalf of everybody here, Chaya Sarah, we want to wish you mazel tov on your recent marriage, apparently to a Hollywood producer who became observant. She lives in the old city and hosts around 30 people every Friday night and gives them a beautiful Shabbos experience. She taught in a Kiruv school for 10 years in the Shalshelis Beis Yaakov. And in addition to that, she's a professional life coach, helping young women to change their mindsets to be able to manifest their dreams through understanding self-love and positive thinking. Sarah also taught in Behar Miriam and taught Hashkofa there. And she just wants to help everyone connect to Hashem in a very authentic way because of her own deep love of Hashem. She's working for Rabbi Kletzko now as the Mayor Schuster for women at the Kotel to help unaffiliated Jews. And I'm delighted to hear that because this is something that I've always dreamt either of doing it myself or for someone else to be doing it. And it's just a joy to meet you. Her aim is to connect them to the beauty of Torah and living life with a purpose. Chaya Sarah's focus is gratitude, and she practices this daily. And she will share with us her personal story of how gratitude and positive thinking transformed her life and brought her to her husband. And with that, Chaya Sarah, I hand over to you, and we eagerly look forward to your story.
Thank you so much. Could you hear me clearly?
Very clearly.
So first, I want to just thank everybody for this incredible Nishmat organization. I've been listening to it for the last few months and from when it started, and it just gave me so much chizuk through all the chagim and even before, just to prepare me. And I just want to thank every single speaker that spoke and gave us so much strength. Like really, we can't thank you enough for putting this together and giving everyone the strength that we need to go into the chagim and to go into preparing ourselves. So just from that, I just really want to thank you so much for this incredible organization. And Nomi, thank you for finding me. I don't even know how this happened. And she just messaged me, please come. And I was like, I want to share my miracle because I have so much gratitude to Hashem, and I think it gave a lot of chizuk to a lot of people. So you know how we say in Nishmas, Ilu finum alishir kayam. If our mouth was full of praise like the water, I can't thank you enough. And then we say, Kol atzmosai tomarna micha mocha, Hashem micha mocha. All my body parts want to thank you. Who is like you, Hashem? So that's what I want to say. My hakar satov to Hashem is so big, I can't thank Hashem enough. And all my whole self just wants to give everybody Emunah to understand that with gratitude we could change our lives. So I want to share my miracle of how I met my husband to be now, married for 4 months, living here in the old city. A dream of dreams that I never in a million years could imagine. So I am 40, I just turned 42, just Rosh Hashanah. And to be honest with everybody, when you're 41 years old and you've been dating for a long time, you think it's never going to happen. So for real, on one hand, I believed it. On the other hand, I didn't believe it. I was like, I don't think it's possible. I want so much in a guy. I have so much I want to become. I want kiruv. I want inspiring. I want someone who's outgoing. I want someone who knows what they're doing. And everywhere I would go, they say to me, Chaya Sarah, you have these nice dreams, but you have to be realistic. There's no guys out there, and especially at this age, it's almost impossible to find. And I was like, I know. So at some point, I was working in kiruv. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to have to give up on this dream of finding my zivug, because maybe I'm just meant to just be like a kiruv person. Sarshnir, she did kiruv. I'm just gonna have to do that. I was married at 34, got divorced right away. It wasn't for me. I'm like, that's it. There's no more chances. But at the same timing, I was like, but what if there is? What if maybe Hashem does have somebody for me? So I'll try to like put those two together to like help myself like with the no and the yes to maybe yes, like try to move it a little bit more to yes, but I didn't think it was possible. So to give a little understanding of where I was coming from, I was living in a basement, no windows, a tiny place, and I just would ask my students, what's it like outside? Is it cold outside? Is it freezing? Is it boiling? Like I started wanting to know what's going on. I'm like, I'm living in a basement with no windows. Like I don't even know what's going on outside. I was working in a seminary. I had so little money. I literally had money to pay for like my basic needs, and that's it. And I was like, I'm living here in Eretz Yisrael. I love Eretz Yisrael, but like I'm living here like without anything. But I knew that there's a concept of positive thinking, and positive thinking could transform your life. And I was like, you know what, Chaya, it seems like impossible, but why don't we try to write down, it says, Modani lefanecha. The first word that comes out of your mouth is thank you. And you know how you just have akar satov to Hashem. Let's try to make a little bit of a gratitude, direction of knowing that I could trust Hashem even though I don't know. From many people speaking to me, I decided I'm going to make a thank you Hashem paper with all that I want my husband to be. Thank you Hashem that he's caring. Why am I thanking before he even comes into existence? Because the idea is that he exists. Hashem made him. So we have to be able to understand that if he exists, look at all these things Hashem is making him to be. So if I want him to come, this is how I'm going to do it. So I wrote, thank you Hashem that he's caring, that he's loving, that he loves Kira, that he's understanding, that he's capable, that he's responsible. Every single thing I wanted to be, I found in it thank yous. And yesterday I was cleaning up my room and I found 5 notebooks, and in each notebook I write thank you for all that I want him to be. But in my head, I didn't know if it was ever going to happen. It was just a nice dream I had on my side, and I was living my life in Kiruv, and I was living in this house, and not knowing if anything was ever going to happen. Now, COVID came. I was locked in my room for 14 days, and people were like, how are you normal? How are you happy? I said, listen, there are people sick in hospitals attached to machines. There are people who can't eat. They lost their taste buds. Me, I had nothing. I was told I had COVID and I had nothing. I was dancing in my room. And I said, if you're locked in your room, Hashem wants you to spend time with him. So I would say Mizmah Latoda 40 times. And I would just repeat it again and again. I'm like, Hashem, thank you so much for my life. Thank you for what you've given to me. And Hashem, I really feel that I'm ready to move out of this place where I'm locked in my room. I'm ready to go, but I don't know where to go. I don't know how to go, but I'm going to thank you that you're going to work things out for me. And positive thinking, I wrote down the kind of place that I want to move to. I want to move to a place where there's going to be a beautiful window. Why do I want a window? I want a window just to say good morning to you, Hashem, and see the sunrise, and see the sunset, and see your beautiful world. I just want to be able to see your world. I don't even see your world yet. So I'm asking you for a window. And I'm thanking you, Hashem, that I'm going to a place that's going to be comfortable and beautiful. And within a few months, somebody messaged me. She's like, hi, Sarah. I heard that you're looking for an apartment. I'm looking for somebody to move with me, Sarah Leah Silverman, who worked in my seminary. And she's like, I want you to come if you could work it out. And I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, do you have windows? She's like, I have a beautiful window. I'm like, great. If you have a beautiful window for me, that's all I need. And I moved into her apartment literally November 1st, the beginning of this year. And when I moved in, I was so excited. And when I came in, I was like, Hashem, this is amazing. I have a window. Thank you for the sunrise. Thank you for the sunset. I heard kids playing outside. I was just like, I was so grateful. And I said, Hashem, I know that if I am moving out of this place and I'm opening a window, you can open a window for me. I don't know what, I don't know how, but I know you're going to do this. And this is what it means that Hashem is so loving and so kind. This is what he did. One of the jobs that I had was working for Podcast Fellowship. Podcast Fellowship is an organization where we pair people up to learn one-on-one. They get paid $15 to learn because they weren't put up religious, and they'll be able to actually connect to a Jew back in America, and they'll be able to learn some Torah. So they will listen to a podcast, and they'll be able to get paid to do that. So I was sitting there in the old city. I had a little table that I'm using right now in my house, this table, and had a big sign that said podcast fellowship. And I would be sitting out there with friends, and I would try to get people to come and sign up. And it was very uncomfortable for me. I felt a little weird, but I was like, you know what, Kaisar? It's so important to bring people back to Hashem. You were a confused teenager. You didn't understand Yiddishkeit. Look how grateful you are to know Hashem in the right way with love and appreciation. Let's bring more Jews back. And if you're uncomfortable, just go for it. Okay? So I'm sitting there outside. Every day I would sit there under my tree. In the old city, I made a tree for myself. This was in the Rova in the old city. I made a tree for myself. This became my tree. Little did I know this tree was going to become every good thing that I needed was under this tree. I didn't know that. I just made a tree for myself in the Rova. And I sat down with this table, the big sign said podcast fellowship, and I would talk to people as they would come by. Okay. One day I'm sitting there. A man who I've seen him walking back many, many times, a newly married guy, he walks over to my table and he says, hi, my name is Jacob. I'm like, hi. What can I do for you? He's like, I just got off the phone with a guy who owns many podcasts, and it's called 25 for 25. We get people to learn for 25 minutes and they get $25. They have a whole system. I'm like, wow. He's like, so because you're working for podcasts and I'm working for podcasts, I'm just going to give you my number. If you need anything, you could call me. So I was thinking, why on earth would I need anything? I don't even understand what's happening. I'm like, okay. So I thought to myself, okay, this is a really funny thing. This guy is married. I saw him working all the time. He's giving me this idea. Okay. He says, if you want to do any kiruv, I work in kiruv. If you want to help people come for Shabbat, you could just let me know. And I'm thinking, I'm never really going to use your number, but that's nice. Okay. 2 days later, I go to a family in Tzfat. The name is Vogel. I go to them for Shabbos, and I meet 3 unaffiliated, totally non-religious boys at a meal coming straight from Tel Aviv. They never saw a Jewish thing in their lives. And they're like, you guys do this every week? We're like, yeah, wow, this is so fun. I'd love to maybe come to the old city and be able to have a cool experience near the Kotel. I said, oh, great. So I was thinking, that guy that I met, Jacob, maybe I could ask him if he would have an idea. So I said to him, Jacob, remember me? You met me a few days ago. He was like, absolutely. I was like, you know what? Can I ask you a favor? I met these 3 guys and they want to be able to have a Shabbos. He's like, perfect, let's set this up. And Jacob made phone calls. He got it set up. And there started my relationship, because Jacob, his wife was Hannah. And then she said, oh, my husband told me about you. I'd love to get to know you. And through that, I ended up becoming friends with their family. And they became my shatchen. I go to them for Shabbos. They're like, whoa, we're so excited that we got to know you. And tell us a little bit what you're looking for. So I was like, listen, I'm 41 years old. Nobody could find me a guy. It's a little bit complicating. I mean, I'll tell you, but I don't think it's possible. She's like, you know what? I said to her, I'm like, Hannah, I have a feeling you're young, you're 24 years old, but I have a feeling you might know somebody for me. She's like, hey, tell me what you want. I described one about tshuva, but open-minded, and someone who's really from and erlich, and she's like, I'm going to think about it. While I'm at her Shabbos table, she and her husband, they go to the kitchen, they're like, oh my gosh, they start laughing. They're like, oh my gosh, we have an idea. So I was telling them a little bit about my life. I was brought up religious and I had confused teenage years. And then I finally found my way back and I love Judaism now. And I was just so excited. And so Jacob and Hannah, they come back to the table and they're like, we have an idea for you. So I'm thinking, you know how many times people told me that? This is like the 80th time. Look, we have an idea for you. So she said, we're just going to tell you a bit about him that's not so positive, because we just want to, and I'm like, what? They started telling me, he was married before, he has a non-Jewish daughter, and I'm like, you guys, you're so sweet. Thank you so much. I'm like, you know what? He worked in Hollywood. I'm like, you know what, guys, you're so adorable. I really don't think it's for me. Thank you so much, though. It's really, really sweet of you. And I was like, no. And as I left, I'm like, you guys, you're just adorable. You're a young couple. You want to make shidduchim. It's so sweet of you to think of me, but no. So he says to me, you know, Matzah Shabbos, I'm going to send you a picture of him. And, you know, if you're interested, I'm like, it's okay. They sent me a picture of Matzah Shabbos. And I'm like, I have an idea. I have a friend who worked in Hollywood. She actually lives in America. Maybe I'll ask her. So I call her up and I'm like, my friend, Sarah. She's like, if he comes to America, I'll go out with him. I would look into him. She said, what about you? I'm like, no, it's not for me. I'm like, Hollywood, I'm from Brooklyn. It just doesn't make any sense. She's like, okay. So, but, fine. What does Hashem do? Hashem is just so brilliant. Only Hashem could come up with this. I'm working there in the old city with my podcast on top of my big sign on top of my head, and I'm like, I'm just going to go get some food. I'm walking down towards the Rova, towards Holy Bagel, and all of a sudden, the picture that they gave me, Matzah Shabbos, all of a sudden I see him walking towards me. I'm like, that is so weird. I'm like, ridiculous. So I quickly turn away. It doesn't make any sense. Turn away, go back to my table, and that's it. 2 days later, there's a whole bunch of non-religious girls. Me and my friend Sim are sitting there talking to them, giving them chizuk, telling them what it means to love God. And I see him walking by. I'm like, this cannot be happening. So I quickly look down like I don't see him. And within 4 or 5 days of working in the old city, Hashem just made me bump into him, like without even expecting anything. I'm just like, what is going on? This is so weird. Like, I'm not looking at him. I said no. I don't understand. And meanwhile, Hannah and Jacob told him that I said yes and told me that he said yes. He said no and I said no. And they both told him that we said yes. And so then when I keep bumping into him, I'm like, oh, maybe did he say, like, and maybe he said, yeah, I don't even know what's going on. So I'm feeling a little uncomfortable. And I called Hannah. I'm like, Hannah, the weirdest thing happened. I'm like, remember I told you no? She says, yeah. I said, Hashem made me into him. She's like, sorry, it's a sign. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not a sign. It doesn't mean anything. It's not for me. But I was like scared to like believe it because I'm like, it can't be. Anyway, what happens is a few days later, he's sitting down like by one of the doors. He sits down with his friend and he tells his friend, they sent me a picture of this girl, but I'm not sure if it's her because it was a very unclear picture. So could you go over to her and just find out what this podcast thing is and see if maybe this is the girl they were talking to me about? So his friend walks over to me. His name is Navi. He walks over to me. He's like, oh, what's this podcast fellowship? Tell me what it's about. He's like, I have a friend. Maybe I could set him up. And so I was like, oh, great. And he's busy talking to me. And then he comes back to Yosef. And Yosef says, so did you get her name? He's like, no. He's like, you had one job. I asked you to just get her name. Like, you don't even get her. He's like, I'm so sorry. I was just busy talking to her. I completely forgot. He's like, so that means I have to go over to her? He's like, if you want to. He's like, okay. And he said he was so nervous. How am I going to go over to her? I feel so uncomfortable. He's like, Hashem, help me do this. Help me do this. He walks over to my table. He's like, hi, I'm Yosef. And I was like, hi, I'm Chaya. Sorry. And we both started laughing because we knew all about each other, bumping into each other so many times. And now he's coming to my table. He's like, tell me, what's this podcast thing? So I start telling him a little about it. He's like, oh, wow. Sounds amazing. As if you need any help, you can let me know and I'd love to help you out. And I'm just like thinking to myself, like, I don't know what's going on here, but only Hashem could come up with this. But now we see the awesomeness of Hashem because I was sitting next to another girl, Rena, and Rena, she said, I hear that you host people, so maybe I could come to you for Shabbos. Now, my husband did not have any mixed meals before we were married because he wanted to keep it with men, but there was one mixed meal there. I said, you know what, maybe if there's one key of meal, I'll take her number just in case. Anyway, what does Hashem do? This sign has to be put away every single night. You have to close it up, put your chair away, and I had it on the side of the rova. Every single night I put it away. That night I went down to the kotel, I was davening, I was like, I don't know what's going on here, I keep meeting this guy, I don't know what this is. I don't know what to do. So that night of all nights, I completely forgot my sign. The only time I forgot it, never did I forget it before. And I go home, I go back to Harnof, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I left my sign outside. I'm gonna have to schlep all the way back to the old city tomorrow morning, and I'm gonna get a fine from the police. I don't know what to do. So there was someone in the old city, I texted them, I'm like, could you please move my sign over? At least I won't have to actually come back to the old city. Like, yeah, sure. They sent me a picture of moving it. They moved it from one side to the next. It was exactly where it was. I'm like, oh no, that's not considered moving. I'm like, okay, whatever. Yosef was outside and he noticed that my sign was there. He's like, oh, that girl that I kept meeting the whole time, the sign is there. Maybe she wants me to put it away for her. But he didn't know what to do. So he's like, I'm going to take the sign, I'm going to close it up, I'm going to take it to my house. It's getting ruined from the rain, and I'm going to hide it, I'm going to put it in my house. But he didn't want to message me because I didn't have his number, because it was just like a weird moment. Like, I wasn't going to take his number when I'm sitting there with my friend. I didn't want her to know anything. So it was just like, okay. So he takes my sign, and he takes it home. And he messages my friend, he's like, can you just ask this girl, Chaisara, that I was sitting next to, can you just tell her that I have her sign? Can you let her know? So she says, no, you tell her. She's like, please, I don't feel comfortable. He's like, just tell her. So she sends him my number, and he's like, okay. So he messages me, he's like, hi, remember me? I'm the one who you met. I'm like, of course. He's like, I just want to let you know that if you need your sign, I actually, is it okay if I took it home? I want it to just be safe for you. I'm like, that's so nice of you. Thank you so much. You just saved me a whole trip. He's like, it's my pleasure. Don't worry. And then he's like, okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Really what's going on, So I was like, yeah. So we started just, trying to figure out. And we said, you know what? We're not going to date until we get a bracha from a big tzaddik because I'm 41. He's 43 and he's from Hollywood. And I don't want to go anything without a bracha from a tzaddik because it's just too, I I don't want to play games. He's like, okay. So we decided that we're not doing that until we get a bracha. Wow. 2.5 months we've been connecting to each other only through text and not through talking because we didn't want to go until we got a bracha. So what happened was, I said to him, what? What do you
Can you
want?
please mute? Thank you.
So we decided that we're not going until we get a bracha. And in between, I was giving him chizuk, and he was giving me chizuk, and I was like, I don't know what to do, because till we get through to the Rav, and the Rav gives us permission to go out, it's taking so much time. And there was a girl who I helped her out a few years ago as a life coach, and she messaged me, Chaisara, I just got engaged, and I'm so excited. I said, so tell me, what happened? She's like, well, me and my chatan, we really wanted to get engaged, but his Rav didn't give him haskama, so we sent a letter to Rav Chaim, and we decided that we're going to get a bracha from Rav Chaim. I said, whoa, that's such a brilliant idea. You know what? I'm like, I'm going to copy her. So I messaged him, I'm like, Yosef, we're not sure what to do. Let's get a bracha from Rav Chaim. I said, maybe you want to like send him a message, like an email. And I was like, wait a second, it's going to take 1.5 years till you're going to get an answer. We'll sit for another 2 months. I was like, you know what, forget it. I said, you know what, can you do me a favor? Can you possibly just go to Rav Chaim? And he's like, I have my keys, I'm going. And him and his friend and his chavruta together, they went down to Rav Chaim. He had no idea, he's a Baal Tshuva, he had no idea that going to Rav Chaim means you could wait hours and hours. He's like, his friend says to him, do you have an appointment? He's like, no, what do I need an appointment for? He's just the Rav. He comes in, he had to wait for 8 hours to see Rav Chaim. Till he got in, it was so complicating. I was davening by this villa Rebbe. I said, Hashem, only if it's the right one, please, only if it's the right one, you should let it go through. If not, forget it. I was davening by this villa Rebbe. He was by Rav Chaim, and he davened in the shul there. And after 8 hours of waiting, he stands in front of Rav Chaim. He's a Rav Chaim. You know, there's a chavruta starts to explain to Rav Chaim all about my husband. And Rav Chaim looks up and he gives him the biggest smile after a few minutes of like looking at his name and hearing everything. And he gave him a huge bracha. And my husband's like, wow! He couldn't believe it. He was like shocked. He gave us a bracha. We should have children and a home of Torah. He didn't just say buha, a full bracha. And I was busy davening and crying by this villa Rabbi Hashem, only if it's the right one. And I was just like literally like I didn't know what to do. I come back home and I see a missed call. It says helper. I wrote helper for now because I didn't know who he was. Helper for now. And I said, a missed call from helper for now? It's the first time I got a missed call. And I call him up. I call him back and he's like, hi. And I'm like, whoa, I'm hearing his voice. Oh my goodness. I'm like, hi. He's like, this is Yosef. He's like, are you available to go out tomorrow night? I'm like, what? He's like, hey, we got a bracha from Chaim. I'm like, I cannot believe this. I was just totally shocked. And when he drove up, he had music playing of thanking Hashem. The whole thing was just thanking Hashem the whole way. And when we met each other for the first time, we both started crying. We were like, we can't believe what Hashem just did. We just couldn't believe it because we knew that if we get a bracha from Chaim, this means that it's not just a date, it's going to be much more than that. And on our dates, we did kiruv every single date. We went bowling once, and we had a different, like there was one lane we were supposed to go to, and Hashem switched us to another lane, and the lane that we switched to was a whole bunch of guys who weren't religious. We came, I have a brother who passed away. Yilush, my brother, I give out kippahs. We started giving out kippahs, and they're like, oh, can I have one for my friend? And we're like, sure, we started giving them kippahs, and I was like, this is the one. There's no way, this is what Hashem, I couldn't believe it, I was so shocked. And this is what it means, I can't thank Hashem enough for the miracle of what Hashem did for me. So there's a lot more to say, but I just want to give everyone a minute to just ask some questions. So here's my thing, my positive thinking that I said, Hashem, thank you that He's this, thank you that He's that. Every single thing that I wrote thank you for, and I said, Hashem, use your chachma, your brilliance on me. Don't use me. My mind is from here to here. That's how much I know. This much, nothing. Hashem, I look up at the sky, it's so big. Use your chachma on me to guide me to where I need to be. Don't listen to me that I think this and I think that. Do whatever you think is good. And then I said, Hashem said, you want to say thank you for the window that I gave you? I'm going to give you a window to Har HaBayit. My window right now is a huge window, and it's directly Har HaBayit. Like you could actually see where the Beis HaMikdash was from my window. How do we thank Hashem enough? And I want to say that everything that I daven for in a husband, Hashem like multiplied. Like I was like, Hashem, I would love someone who does kiruv. Hashem, you want someone who does kiruv? I'll give you the ultimate kiruv. Someone who was in Hollywood, who walked the red carpet, who made so much money and all that he was doing and gave it all up for Yiddishkeit. And someone who loves Hashem. I said, Hashem wants someone who's dedicated to you and wants to bring people, to Yiddishkeit. You want someone to bring someone to Yiddishkeit? I'm going to give you someone who wants to have guests and guests and guests every Shabbos, and I'm going to inspire them with my story and inspire them with love for Hashem. And I just couldn't believe it because I was like, I'd love to have guests. And literally, like my first week when I was engaged and I came to the house, I couldn't even eat because I was just sitting there shocked, seeing every kind of Jew. There was Hasidish, Litvish, religious, not religious, ponytail, tattoos, super from yeshiva guy. I was just like, what is this? And they were all saying to our Torahs and thanking Yosef for inviting them and saying, he changed my life, he changed my life. And I was just like, Hashem, I can't believe what you did. So everything that I wrote down in gratitude to Hashem, everything I wrote down, I got it in doubled and doubled and doubled and doubled. And then Hashem brings me to the old city to be living in front of his own home. Because Hashem's like, you're going to have gratitude for what I gave you. I'm going to give you more and more and more. And this is my message to everyone. A 41-year-old woman who didn't think it was possible to ever find him because I thought I was just too old. I thought I was like 800, like it's never going to happen. And believing that Hashem could do it from one hand. Could he do it on the other hand? Could it happen on the other hand? I don't know. But I just said, Hashem, I'm just relying on you. You use your imagination without me knowing what was going to be. And then seeing the nisim, Hashem's like, I gave you a sign. Do you not see the sign? Like, you left the sign outside. Like, how many more signs do you need? How many more signs? And so I was like, okay, Hashem, you're right. So I want to say, like, big akar satov to Hashem for all the kindness that he's done for me and for bringing me to this moment of now I'm able to do kiruv the way I wanted to do kiruv. Now I'm able to love Hashem on the deeper level, knowing what it means to have a husband who, if you look behind us, see the Beis HaMikdash, who cries for the Beis HaMikdash. He literally cries, he's like, Hashem, I'll do anything, I'll give up whatever you want, just please let us bring Mashiach. That's all I want. And my husband wants to go and do kiruv to bring people back. So that's my little story. If anyone has any questions, I love to answer anything. And I just want to thank you for the platform, being able to share my joy and my simcha, my akar satov to Hashem for giving me my life back.
Oh, what a magnificent story. Yes, go ahead, Nomi.
Linda, I just want to show it everybody because I'm going to just get it off. So I'm just finally got here. I just want to show the caver. I can't. There's too many men right now inside, but I'm going to show you. It's a very special place. Just give me a second.
Yeah, I've been here. It's so special. I've davened here too.
I know, it's very, very special. Just a second. Can you see it? Linda, can you see?
Yes, we can.
Yes, where is this, please?
Where is this? Where are you, Nomi?
The kever of the Gera Rebbe.
No, were you able to hear everything while you were at the caver?
It seems she can't talk.
Is this the Sfat Emes or which Gera Rebbe?
Yes. I'm going to go open the door just a second. I'm not allowed, but I'm going to go open the door so you can see. Just a second. I'm going to daven. Okay. And I'm going to put you in charge.
Okay, thank you so much for taking us, Nomi. That was really special.
You
And
know where
to
this is?
you, Chaya Sarah, what a story, and told with such infectious enthusiasm. Thank you for letting us see into your life and to get some enthusiasm from you. Now, before we go on and ask people if they've got questions, someone has asked how they can get hold of you, Chaya Sarah.
My honor and my pleasure. We actually have a website that you can also see pictures of my husband when he wasn't from, and see like ideas of what we do for Shabbos. But I could give you my phone number. I would love to speak to anybody who would like to get some chizuk. Older singles, people who need chizuk in any way. It's my honor and my pleasure. So here's my phone number: 050-515-2158.
What's the website?
It's on our thing, thebcrew.com.
Sorry, the what?
The B Crew. Our last name is Behar, so my husband said crew. We're like a crew. B Crew. The THEBCREW.com.
Thebcrew.com.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And then someone asked, where were you davening? I think you said you were davening at the kever of the Zvila Rebbe.
This Villa Rebbe, yeah. The nisim that happened there are beyond words.
Did you do it Monday, Thursday, Monday, or just?
So I did it for years and years and years and years, and never knowing if anything was ever going to happen with the shidduch. But for everything else I needed in my life, I had like nisim and iflod, every job I wanted, everything I needed. I said, Hashem, the schus of this tzaddik, who said the whole Sefer Torah, for anyone who was in any kind of pain, please like open up the doors for Klal Yisrael, for me, for whatever I want to do. And like, I had nisim and iflod, but to find my zivug, I would daven there, but I never would know if it was ever going to happen. But I would just daven in case Hashem would, decide.
So someone asked where it is. I think near the Knesset, if I'm not mistaken. Do you know?
Yeah. Yeah. They could call me. I'll tell them all about it. It's my favorite place. The schus of a tzaddik could do incredible things for us.
Oh, beautiful.
Please post the number and information.
All right, I will as soon as I've just got someone to answer. If who would like to ask a question, ladies? We have the opportunity.
Hi, this is Charlene again.
Hi.
Hi, I love your story. It's so deep. I just wanted to share, not so much to ask about when you go to a tzaddik before or the shidduch to get a bracha. So this would happen to me. I'm related to the Baba Sali, my family, from my father's side. And I met my husband for 4 days in America, and I went back to Israel because I lived in Israel. You have to go to Baba Sali. Now he's an Ashkenazi Jew, but he had a contact with Baba Sali, unbelievable. And he said, you have to go. So I go, I call up the family, the wife, and she says, your family, you come for Shabbat. So now I slept for Shabbat, and I was told he's in meditation. I will not see him. He's meditating. I heard him cry a whole night. Saw him, Motzei Shabbat. He wasn't coming out for Abdallah like 3 hours. So I went back to Jerusalem, never got a bracha. And I was kind of left empty, but I felt, I want to get the bracha from a tzaddik. So someone will ask me to go, said I could go to Rav Sharabi. He was a big Mekubal in Yerushalayim. So I'm not alive anymore. So I went and I told him, I met this, and like I want to get a bracha so that we can raise our family, we blended family, and we can do the right thing and so on and so forth. And he totally blessed me. And when he did, I felt, now I can go forward. I couldn't go forward before. I just couldn't. I had to have the bracha of tzaddik is huge. And of course, everybody finds the tzaddik that they need. So I want my family to bless me, my relative, but no, it was meant for somebody else. So I was blessed to have not only a bracha, a picture of this shining face. And until today, this Rabbi Ton who gave us a lecture, he studied in the Rav Sharabi's yeshiva. So we all connected. That's what it is. So thank you. I related to that aspect. I never shared that story because, you have to share story with people who do those things and believe in it. Otherwise, they think you're crazy. What do you need to go to bracha for? Go do your thing. But I didn't feel that way. Anyways, thank you so much for the if I come to Jerusalem, I'm going to look you up.
Absolutely. Please.
My daughter just made Aliyah, so I will be coming to Jerusalem. But she made Aliyah with 3 children, a husband, and I really miss Hashem. visit my grandkids, and I'm going to contact you.
Yes, I love that. It would be so fun to meet people who you don't even know who they are, because we're all brothers and sisters. We're all connected.
Yes, by an invisible thread. Okay, thank you very much. Gmar Chatima Tova. All the best.
Amen. Thank you for sharing that. Wow.
Rebecca, your hand is up. Rebecca.
Yes. Hi, how are you? Good morning and good afternoon. Chaisar, thank you so much. That was really beautiful. I so enjoyed your story. My question is, you talk about a lot of positive times and how you managed to stay positive. I mean, I'm very inspired by the positivity. So my question is, did you not have down times where you had really, like you said, I gave up. Okay, I decided maybe I'm going to be like Sarah Schneer. Was it really that simple, or was it much more complex in terms of your, having down days or having down tekufos, maybe longer than a day?
Yeah, of course. Definitely, it was everywhere I went, people would comment like, you're never gonna find anyone. Like, you're being so picky, and I would feel horrible. I'm like I'd rather stay single than hear all these comments and being told all these things, and it would hurt me so much. I'm like, do you even understand? Like, you're talking to somebody who knows what they need, and you're making me sound like something wrong with me by the fact that I'm saying I don't want what you're offering me, because it doesn't make sense to me. So I would be very, very hurt. I would cry, and I would be in so much pain, and I cried a lot to Hashem. Like, Hashem, you're the only one who could understand me. I'm like, no one understands me. I go to someone's house for Shabbos, and she's like, so you want like an outgoing guy, right? I'm like, yeah. She's like, we don't really know anyone. Like, you're so outgoing, you really need a quiet guy. And I'm like, you know what? I really don't. Like, I know you think I do, but I don't. And people would literally like make me sound like I'm terrible for saying I want an outgoing guy, terrible for saying I want someone to cure. Like, Chazar, you'll be the Kirov and he'll appreciate you. I'm like, no, I really feel I need someone to Kirov. They're like, no, you can't get it. And I would say to myself, Hashem, you know how much pain I'm in. You know how people are commenting and hurting me with all these comments and literally making me feel like something's wrong with me by wanting what I want. But Hashem, you know what I need. I'm like, Hashem, you are going to find it for me. But Hashem, maybe you won't. And I'm going to only cry to you. And I will cry. I'll go to this Villa Rebbe and cry and say, Hashem, like, I don't know what's going to be. I don't know if I'm ever going to have this. But maybe someday you'll do this for me. But it's not impossible. Even my siblings, they said to me that when they blessed me last Rosh Hashanah, they're like, my whole 5 sisters got married before me, every single one of them. And they're like, we feel so bad for Chaisara. Like, is she ever going to get married? Like, is it ever going to happen for her? And when my siblings would get married, I would cry before the wedding. I would say, Hashem, I can't even go. I know I have to, but I can't. And one of my sister's weddings, I flew in from Israel to America. I was terrified to go to this wedding. I'm like, I'm going to be so embarrassed. The divorced woman, sister, flew in from America to be with her sister. And if anybody knows Rav Kamalka Perlman, the incredible woman, she made a whole program dedicated to me, so I shouldn't be embarrassed when I go to my sister's wedding. And she danced and sang with me and got the whole group. I was in Israel, flew to California, had a program made for me and other women that day. So when my sister's wedding comes 2-3 days later, I'll be able to make it to her wedding. But the day of her wedding, I threw up and I was crying. I'm like, I can't go. I can't go to this wedding, and feeling like, there's the divorced woman from Eretz Yisrael, Nebuch. Here's that sister, and I was terrified to go. I davened, and when I got dressed, I was like, Hashem, you need to come with me. I can't go myself. I can't go to this wedding. I can't go. I was shaking to walk in. I couldn't even walk in. I was like, Chaya! And I made believe like I wasn't even like, a question of like, don't ask me how I'm doing. I was like, oh, you look amazing. I was trying to like cover up so no one should even think that I'm not married. I was just like focusing on them. And another thing was another sister that got engaged. The night that she got engaged, I was like, I cannot go to her simcha. It's too hard for me. Hashem did something outrageously awesome, because she said right before she got engaged, like, Chaisar, is it okay if I get engaged before you? I feel so bad. I'm like, of course you can get engaged before me. I had made a shidduch 2 days before my sister got engaged. I was still in pain. I was crying. I didn't know how I was going to go to her thing. And when I got to her simcha, I was like, guys, I made a shidduch. Oh my, everyone's like praising me. You made a shidduch. Everyone forgot to remember that I'm not married. They were so busy focusing that I made a shidduch. And one other thing was my other sister that got engaged. When she got engaged, the pain was so intense. I was like, I can't breathe. I can't even go. I can't. I remember the pain was so intense. I was like, Hashem, I know this doesn't make any sense, but I would rather run in the street, be run over by a car, and not have to deal with anyone looking at me, that's how much pain I'm in. And I called somebody and the person said to me like, Chasar, you want to go to Arizona? I'm like, Arizona's not far enough. I need to just like get out of this world because I cannot face anybody. I can't breathe from this pain. And I remember I was like, Chasar, don't run in the middle of the street. Like you're crazy. And I did it, but in my head I'm like, if I would be just, I would feel better than going to her simcha. That's how much pain I was in. Pain was indescribable, and anyone who's older and waiting for their shidduch, the pain is indescribable. And I just wish that anyone who has an idea, just make them feel like they're the best person in the world. Be like, you're incredible, you're so strong for what you are. Like, tell me what you want, and don't ever tell them, oh, you can't get that. It's not true. Everyone who I see now, I'm like, guys, don't you dare give up. You could get whatever you want. Hashem is so big. Yeah, Hashem is bigger than anything you could ever imagine. Tell Hashem what you want, and Hashem is going to give you what you need. But it's going to make sense to you. You're going to feel like this is for me. You're not going to feel like I can't believe it. And I know that the Emunah in Hashem was the only thing I had. I make older singles run and go buy Emunah books. Go read an Emunah book. Don't give up on Hashem. You have to hold on to Him. And if you're going to hold on to Him, you're going to have miracles. And it just happened yesterday. I went to the kotel. I bumped into a friend of mine. I hadn't seen her a long time ago. I said to her, I was like, do you know that I'm married? She's like, what? You're married? I don't believe it. I said, come meet my husband. And she's like, I want to be honest with you. She's like, she's in a little over 30s, and she's a little older than 30 older. And she's like, I gave up already. I actually gave up. She's like, maybe Hashem doesn't want me to get married. I'm like, no. I'm like, look at me and see where I am sitting right now. She's like, no, I'm just meant to. I was like, no, you're not meant to anything. Everyone has a zivug. My husband's like, if you get married, all of Klai Yisrael is going to be blessed. You have to. And we sat there for 2 hours talking to her and telling her, I felt this way. I know how you're feeling. Don't give up. And I said, write down everything you want them to be. She's like, I never did. I said, too bad. Don't think about it. Just do it. I said, write down. After we spoke to her for 2 hours, write down what you want. And she wrote it down. And she's like, I'm changing my mind. So I'm like, thank you, Hashem. Please go. She's like, I'm leaving your house right now, and I'm going with a new mindset. I'm like, you must go with gratitude. Start believing. Gratitude is the attitude that will change your life. Because the word Jew is Yehudi, is a Jew. We are thank youers, and if we start thanking Hashem, we're going to turn our lives around. So it just happened yesterday, one of them. So Bezrat Hashem, we should know that yes, the pain is excruciating. I don't know if there's another pain that's as intense as this. It's the worst pain in the world. But knowing that like with tefillah and getting close to Hashem and talking to Him and thanking Him is the only way out. It's the only way out. So yeah, it was intense. No words could describe the pain, and I just want to help anyone. If anyone has any older girls that need chizuk, please give them my number. I just want to encourage anybody that I can. Does that make sense that it was a lot of pain?
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. That's really special.
Like I was being really real. Like it wasn't like a game. It wasn't like, oh, who cares? You know, it was very, very real. So my biggest request is when you see older girls is just to give them so much love and be so proud of them, because we don't know, Hashem's making this amazing creation for them that they don't know about yet. They don't know what Hashem is going to give them. Hashem's, with their tefillah, Hashem is making this incredible creation, but they only see that nothing's happening. But really, Hashem's like, give me a minute. Like I'm building this thing up for you. You don't want to have a vessel that has holes in it. So if you want to have a vessel, you have to make sure the vessel is complete. So my sister told me, so every single tefillah that you're davening and you don't see being answered is making a vessel to be able to bring all the shefa in at once instead of like trickling in. And just had a very cute piece in that I love Kiruv. So Hashem gives me a mother-in-law who was brought up not from, and I just went back to America and I was teaching her Aleph Beis. We were keeping Shabbos together, and she's like, I'm so excited about this. My husband told me like she was always interested, but like once Hashem like brought me into their life, now she's like really open. I'm like, Hashem, you see all the tefillos that I daven. Hashem's like, every tefillah that you daven, you didn't see being answered, but I was doing amazing things, giving you a kiruv mother-in-law. And when I got engaged, most people when you get engaged, you don't have a house already. You have to go search for a house. No. When I got engaged, there was a house set up for me already in the old city, waiting for me to come into it. And my husband said, he's like, I knew that I was going to find my wife here, so I decided that I was going to actually have a house first, so when we get engaged, she'll be able to have a home. I was like thinking, every tefillah that you daven, that you didn't see being answered, Hashem's like, I set you up a house, I set you up a mother-in-law, I set you up a place to live, I set you up, all your dreams, I made them come true. So that's my only thing, that like, Hashem is so big. don't limit Hashem. Our minds are limited, but Hashem is not. So let's make Hashem how big He is and put our whole trust in Him and not our trust in our minds. And then we'll be zocha to see Nisim and Niflo for this coming year.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much, Adele. Adele?
Wow, Chaya Sarah, like you are such a passionate person, and I can only imagine the pain you were feeling because your joy is so infectious when you're so happy. It's an incredible thing to see, and I'm sure you're having so much inspiration and insight and like being a role model to so many people. My question to you is, how did you wait 2.5 months to meet him? Like, how come it was so long? And how, like, were you able to like hold yourself back? Like, how did you have so much Emunah given you've waited so long?
You're saying once I met him, the 2.5 months of waiting?
Didn't you say you were texting for 2.5 months before you met?
We were texting once before we met in person.
Right, exactly. That's what I meant. Like, why so long? You were 41, he was 43. Why didn't it happen in 2 hours, that bracha?
I'll tell you why. Because I was divorced and I was very, very scared to trust again. Very scary. You know, all the stories I hear, people got married and they didn't have good marriages and people have issues. And I'm like, listen, I want to get married, but I want to make sure that everything is good before I get married. Meaning, like, I'm in a good place, he's in a good place, this is the right thing. I don't have energy to like date and then say yes and then say no. And my heart has been pulled so many times and broken so many times. I can't go through it again. So we just wanted a bracha from a Rav. That was the only thing we said. Once we get a bracha, we're gonna go out. So we were supposed to get a bracha from, not saying names, from a certain Rav. He wasn't available, he got COVID, he wasn't able to talk. So we were like, okay, till we get a bracha, we're not going out. Because, you know, if you're coming from Hollywood, there's a lot of stuff that you have to, like, you know, deal with. So I had to be able to, like, understand him and understand where he's coming from and make sure he's really Erlich. I want to really Erlich home, not like kind of. Like, when I thought of Hollywood, I'm like, do you know what Hollywood means? Like, when they send me pictures of him, I'm like, oh my God, I'm much too frum for him. I'm like so frum. Like, how's a Hollywood guy even gonna like look in my direction? It doesn't even make sense. Like how is that gonna happen? You know? But the fact that he was from Hollywood made him so much more connected to Hashem and so much more desire to spread Hashem's light because he saw so much lies. So the only reason I waited so long was because I wanted to make sure that everything was good with him, everything was good with me, all the things that you need to figure out before you make sure to commit to something. And then also in between my father passed away, so that also took time. So everything was just like taking time to like, we were able to like make this whole miracle happen. And we got married on Parshas Behar. My last name is Behar, without us knowing.
It's amazing.
So it's from Shemayim.
It's amazing. It's a fantastic story. You should be sharing it like crazy.
Yes, I'm so happy. It's like this is what Emunah looks like. Emunah looks like Hashem doing magic. At my wedding, my students were singing, Tefillah is magical. We had a big sign. I told them, I made the girls scream again and again. Tefillah is magical. What does that mean? That means that when you daven with your heart, you don't have to see it being answered right away. But you will see that Hashem really does things that are not regular. It's not regular. Hashem does things that are beyond our imagination. So Tefillah is magical. I made them sing thank you Hashem and thank you Hashem and thank you Hashem. At my wedding, the thank you Hashem was like exploding. All my students were singing and thanking Hashem. And when we got engaged, we came to my seminary with my chatan. And they were like, we heard this from Hollywood. We can't believe it. This is crazy. And when he came in, he told them a little, like 4 minutes of his story. And one girl said to me, you know, Chaya, I just want to tell you that when I was, the seminary is non-Orthodox, and they become more from, she said, I was leaving seminary planning on going into Hollywood. That was my dream. I was going from seminary to Hollywood. I wanted to be a fashion designer for Hollywood. She's like, when I heard your husband's story, I was like, I'm done. And all my students that heard him, they were done. Because at our VAR, we weren't able to have any music because my father passed away. So we spoke instead. So my husband, my chatan, at that point, he shared a story and they were just sitting there and flabbergasted and everyone's like, that's it. Like, we're becoming religious. Like, we're not. And I'm like, Hashem, thank you. This is all I want. Bring everybody back home. So my husband, my chatan, at that point was just inspiring everybody with his simcha. And I was like, this is why I had to wait all these years, because so many souls are going to be affected by this incredible neshama. And now that I'm married to him, I just look at him, I'm like, are you real? Like, how did Hashem make such a creation? He is really mind-blowing who this neshama, he's just, his kochos are like quadruple what I've imagined I could ever get. It's like, and you need something, of course, come, I'll make a meal for you, anything you need, and you're just in awe of what Hashem made, just total awe. In anachnu maspikim, that's what I say. And we say Mizmor LaToda together all the time in front of Har HaBayit. We thank Hashem for all the things that work out for us in our lives, and really, like, it's mamish real, like, trusting in Hashem and doing it right is just the ultimate bracha that I could imagine.
Baruch Hashem, and Cain and Horror, it should just go on from strength to strength.
Amen, 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 amen.
Do you have time for 2 more questions?
Absolutely.
All right. Annie, I know you wanted to ask something.
I didn't put on my mic. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Very powerful. A few weeks ago, I was with a friend and she said to me, I'm turning 40. It's my birthday. And she's it's so hard to say it. And I didn't know what to say back. I mamish was like, I didn't know what strength to give her or what to say. In the end, I had heard about this initiative. I don't know if you've heard of it, where they pair up people looking for their shidduch with couples that are, they pair up people to pray for one another, couples that are waiting for a baby, that feeling, that the ratzon, the ke'ev, the hurt, the pain that's so momentous that they should daven for one another. So I was able to pair up somebody that's married 4 years and waiting for a baby with my friend who's turning 40, and like all Rosh Hashanah, I'm just davening for them to daven for each other, for me to daven. I don't know what to say. And so my actual question is, what is to be said? What should we say? What was the most encouraging thing? You shared what was so painful, which is so important for us to know what not to say. What is the chizuk? You said Emunah is, I think, profound, meaning run to the Emunah books. And Rabbi Mizvil, I've seen Yeshua in my own Shalom Bayit, that's helped me as well. So maybe you can just give a few more words on what we can share.
Yes. Love that. The most important thing is when somebody's older, don't focus on the fact that they're not married. Talk to them about their lives. Act like they're normal people. Like, you don't act like there's something wrong with them. Like, oh, tell me what you did. Tell me about your thing. No. Try not to focus on the fact that they're not married. Like, it's nothing to do with them. They have a life, and people think if you're not married, you have no life. It's like, because I wasn't married, people looked at me like there's something wrong with me. Like, maybe she has horns coming from her head. Like why isn't she married? So when you see someone who is not married, ask her how her job is going. Compliment her. Oh, you look so good. Oh, you look amazing. So good to see you. Tell me where you're going. Just put that on the side. Get as if it doesn't exist. And every girl will tell you, every woman will tell you that they want to be looked at as a person, not like as oh, she's not married. What are you looking for? If you want to ask them what they're looking for, first be their friend. First talk to them. First hear what they're doing in their lives. And then, oh, by the way, I might have an idea for you. But not like, hi, my name is Rivka. I'd like to, what are you looking for? And then the person feels like, oh, that's the only way you're going to talk to me is what I'm looking for. Does that make sense? Because people don't want to feel like a project. They want to feel like, I have a life. I kept saying, I have a life. And I'm going to come to my husband with my life that I had. I'm not going to come like all depressed. No guy wants a depressed girl. I want to come to him with the life that I had. And then we're going to mix our lives together. But not like, I'm waiting for you. Like, I have no life until you come. No, I have a beautiful life. And I want to talk about my life. I want to talk about the cure that I'm doing. I want to talk about the people that I met. I want to talk about my dreams. I want to talk about fun things I want to do in my life. I want to be alive. And on the side happens to be that I'm looking to get married. But not like, I am a project, we have to marry her off, what's going to be with her? How does that resonate?
That's beautiful. I appreciate that. That's beautiful. It's just, sometimes when we're close to people that do feel sorry for themselves, so we want to pull them out of the pit as well. Meaning for that moment of the self, sometimes people walk around with that often, with the sadness, and the opportunity to be grateful is tremendous. And I just want to pull that moment. I'm no, don't focus on that. But obviously, there are moments that people are down, and could also be with them in the pit without feeling bad, without projecting from our side that we're judging them for being any less than they are. Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank
I want to
you.
give you a super quick story just to tell you how important it is not to do this, okay? I was in Lakewood years ago when I was 30, 11 years ago. I came into a store and a lady sees me, she's like, hi, what's your name? I'm like, oh, my name's Chaya Sarah. Oh, tell me what you do. I'm like, I work at Kiev. Oh, that's so nice. And talking to me, what school is it? How do you like it? Normal. She's like, oh, by the way, how old are you? I'm like, oh, I'm 30. You're 30? Oh my gosh. Well, we must marry you off. She runs to the cash register. She's like, here, take the shach's number. I'm like, it's so nice to me. I'm gonna get going now. And I ran out of the store, like somebody slapped me across the face. I was like, what's wrong with this lady? She's having a normal conversation. Most of tell her how old I am. Boom! We have to marry you off. I have a shadchan for you. And I'm never gonna call that number. I just felt like such an idiot. Like all of a sudden, like there's this sign on my head. I am not married. Oh my gosh! Please help me. Like, where does a person looked at as like something wrong with you just because you're not married? But I was a human being 2 seconds before she knew my age. 2 seconds before. So the most important thing is don't focus on that part. Give them themselves. Let them feel alive. Let them feel excited. And of course, if they're in the pit and they need chizuk, tell them, Hashem is so proud of you. You're so strong. You're so great. Look at you. And tell them they're good things. You're so good at this. You're so good at that. Like a Kiddush Hashem you are. Like, you're such a Kiddush Hashem. And you tell them the greatness of who you are. And Hashem is so proud of you. And you're Hashem's precious gem. People who are waiting, going through pain, to Hashem, you're the biggest gift. Because Hashem's with the Emunah, Hashem is with us in our pain. So you're not alone. Hashem is literally with you in this. Like, He's completely with you, even more than people who are just going through life. So you're super close to Hashem, and Hashem is so close to you. You should really know that you're very precious to Hashem.
Michal. Are you there, Michal?
Let her call me, please. Give her my number. I want to talk to anybody because I have the permission. When you're 41, then you have permission to talk about it and give them chizuk, because I made this happen for me to be able to inspire people, give them the chizuk.
Michal Golan. Are you there, Joe?
Hi. Hi. First of all, I raised my hand and I kept contemplating, do I speak? Do I not in time? First things first, you are wow, you are radiant, you're incredible. I love everything about you. Your energy is so special, and I'm so grateful that I was here today listening. Wow. I wanted to just say, it resonated with me so much. I too was married and I quickly got divorced. It wasn't the right fit. And I had, very, very specific requests from Hashem. And anytime I would share those requests with my family or with friends, everyone would say oh my God, you're so unrealistic. You're so picky. This is not going to happen. This is ridiculous. It's your fault that you're not finding the right person because, very unrealistic. And I was so confident and certain in what I wanted. And this is what Hashem is going to give me. There's no questioning this. And I kept praying for it. And I used to have a gratitude journal and I would write it in detail. Sorry, my baby is always so happy, but she's just a little bit past her nap time. Anyway, side note from that, I also tried to have a baby several times with my initial husband and had no luck and, went through treatments. No luck. Basically, I was told I cannot have a baby unless I do IVF and time is of the essence. Moving forward, Hashem really, really listened to me, and every specific thing that I had requested, He literally sent to me with the most incredible man. And when him and I were actually talking about having babies, I also, I went to a fertility clinic to see please give me a different answer. Please tell me that there's even a chance that I can do this. I don't know that we're ready to start today, but is there any chance at all? And she we did the whole cycle, and then the surgeon actually called me the day that I moved into his house and said to me, I'm so sorry, your numbers are even lower. It's not possible. If you're going to do this, you have to do IVF. You have to do it right now. Time is of the essence. And so I basically kind of lost hope. And I'm 38. I have 18 nieces and nephews. Children are my life. I'm a teacher. I love kids. I've been wanting kids forever. I love kids. I just always wanted this. And next thing I know, a few months later, like in the heart of COVID, when things were crazy, it was such a hard time for us. It's a blended family. He has 2 kids. Like everything was just so difficult, and it just felt like impossible. I got pregnant, and it was,
Wow, here's the proof.
how is this even possible? Oh my gosh. And I'm 38. I hope that my baby is going to be healthy. And I would pray and I would pray. And I had my gratitude book. And I literally, like you said, I wrote down every single specific adjective that I wanted in this baby, like every specific adjective. And I prayed twice a day for these specific adjectives. And it took me 25 minutes. And sometimes I'd be like, oh my God, now I have to go pray for 25 minutes, but I don't care. This is what I need to do. Hashem is listening. I know that this is going to happen. And I kid you not, every adjective that I had written down, that I'd actively prayed for, that I believed with every ounce of my being, has manifested into this beautiful, incredible, thank God, healthy, happy, like the happiest, sweetest baby ever. And it was pure, like it was amazing to just not give up on Emunah and Bitachon, no matter what life circumstances were, what people would say. It was like, Hashem, I know you're going to do this for me. I know it. There's no other option, and just not giving up. And it was just incredible, because I hear your story, and it's just like, it's so beautiful, and it's so hard to stay so hopeful and optimistic and positive in the midst of craziness and, in a pandemic and everybody telling you everything and all these doubts. And it's just incredible to see everything manifest the way it was always meant to be. And so I'm so grateful. And actually, I'm going to be starting to use my gratitude journal today, because it's been a little while. So thank you for that. And I'm so happy for you. And I wish you so much happiness in life. You're a person. So thank you for everything.
Oh, man.
For a second, so you actually didn't have to use IVF?
Pardon?
You didn't have to use IVF?
Nope. Didn't have to do it. And it happened without even planning, without trying. It just happened. It was like, what? I'm pregnant. My body can do this on my own. And not just on my own, but like the most incredible little redhead baby you've ever seen. Like, really? What? That's a miracle.
Wow.
Yeah.
Give us a bracha, because I do need that bracha for now. I'm 41 and just turned 42, and I would love that bracha that should go easy, smooth. I know, these things are like, excitingly scary in a good way.
Absolutely.
I want to say that Michal's baby is our Nishmat baby. I think she's attended every session that you've attended, Michal.
Wow.
That's also wonderful.
When she was in my belly, and I'm like, oh my God, Hashem, please keep her healthy and safe. I can't believe I'm pregnant. Like, please keep her healthy. Every morning I would listen to Nishmat called Chaya, and I would pray, and I would put my hand on my belly and Mizmolet. And every ultrasound I was singing Mizmolet Todah, every ultrasound, every appointment, every single thing. And it's just like, this baby is going to be the most holy, amazing, grateful baby. And this is what we do every morning. We sit, we eat, we listen. And aside from the fact that we're 20 minutes over her nap, and that's the only reason why she's a little fussy, she's usually like, just like so attentive and smiling.
Wow.
Amazing.
That's amazing, Michal. Wow.
Over her nap, we've gone 20 minutes later than we usually do. And we just say thank you so much for the most wonderfully entertaining and exhilarating session, but at the same time, such a calming and reassuring session. So Hashem should just bless you with everything that you need, and that soon we should hear wonderful news.
Amen.
What did you call it? The B crew.
Yeah.
The B crew will grow and grow. Is it a capital B?
Or,
is it a capital B or a small B?
Good question. I'm not sure myself.
I put capital.
You can put in lower keys. I just did, and it comes up.
All right.
My husband.
No need to capital.
It's okay. Sorry.
Amazing pictures. Hi, Sarah.
What did you say? You got to see the pictures?
Amazing pictures. Yes.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
So everybody, you all hear that? bcrew.com. B is a lowercase, not.
Okay, it's in the chat. It's available.
Anybody wants to come over to my house? Anybody wants to call me and talk to me?
Great, we're all coming. All coming. We've some of us.
Thank you so much.
I just want to ask you. I just want to know. Oh, hi.
You're
You
welcome.
knows me. You saw me before I was engaged, right?
Amazing. Amazing story.
Karen, you know that I didn't think it was gonna happen. Like,
Yeah. You're an inspiration. Continue inspiring Kali Style. You're doing amazing work. I saw the pictures on the site. Amazing. Amazing. So good to see. It's giving me nachat. Lots of nachat.
thank
And
you.
everyone should know gratitude is the way. Be'ezrat Hashem, that this is how Rush talks about it. We say Mizmor Todah. We have to believe it. Ladies, we have to believe the tremendous koach in thanking Hashem and thanking him in advance for the Yeshuot that we are expecting to have. For Mashiach this year, Be'ezrat Hashem, for the Geulah, for everyone's personal Yeshua, Be'ezrat Hashem.
Amen.
Yeah.
I wrote in the
Amen.
I wrote in the chat that I made a shidduch for a 44-year-old girl, and I think we all have to try. We have to try for everybody because we don't know where it's going to come from. I never thought I had the koach to make such a shidduch. It's a whole siyata d'shmaya, the way it happened, but we have to try because if we try, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will lead us. I always say I didn't make the shidduch. HaKadosh Baruch Hu made the shidduch, not me. You know, he brought them together. He gave the idea in my head. He finally gave me the idea to go for it after I refused to do it 2 years prior. So we have to be there for the girls also with tefillah and with trying. You know, we are like, they're so happy they're celebrating their first anniversary and Hashem should bless them with a child. It's just like an unimaginable experience.
Amazing. Yes, amazing.
So with that, ladies, I'm going to close the group saying thank you so much again, Chai Sarah, for being here.
Inspiring, amazing, amazing. Thank you.
Beautiful. And we should all just
Thank you.
I want to ask you if I wanted to read the messages, how can I read them? You can't read them with
I've taken a photograph of them all. I'm sending it to you. I've done it. Yeah.
That's so nice. You send it through email or
on your WhatsApp? Have you got WhatsApp on that phone number?
Yeah.
Send it soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're truly inspiring.
Thank you so much.
I'd love to meet whoever gets.
Thank you.
Whoever I can, I'd love to meet you.
Thank you.
That's lacha with everything.
So much. So now I know around 5,
You're amazing.
around 2:45 when everything happens. The singing and the Mizmor Todah, I didn't know the beginning part, how it works. So now I know.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much.